Welcome back everyone to today's third video. I'm looking at the latest developments over the last couple of hours as all of the 12Z models finish updating. So we are not going to waste much time. We've got quite a bit to show you and I want to keep this video as short as possible so everyone can watch it without taking too much time out of their day. So let's get straight into this. Thanks everyone for the support, by the way. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe. It just helped me out a lot. So we are going to get into this right now. It's pouring down outside. Anyway, the current situation, we've got low pressure in the Atlantic. High pressure is backing away to the south, and high pressure is also retrograding up towards Greenland at the same time. Very unusual and interesting situation, as high pressure going towards Greenland is not our default setup. High pressure is yellow, orange and reds. Low pressure is the blues and purples, if you didn't already know. As we move into midweek and into next weekend, we see high pressure starts to strengthen around Greenland, and we're going to start bringing down the wind from a northerly direction. It'll be cold, and some parts of Scotland will have some wintry showers, but we end up breaking the ridge down, and we start going milder from the west. So not really, a bit of a cold snap, a bit colder than usual. Pretty cold, nothing wintry though, really. But that is just the GFS. And we are wobbling loads. We've had so much different options over the last few hours. So we're going to go through the GFS ensembles and stuff in a minute. Anyway, this is the ECMWF 12Z. Once again, high pressure goes up towards Greenland. Take a look at this. And the winds start coming down from a colder northerly direction. So that's a bit more wintry before the Atlantic tries to break back through, but they're still blocking around Greenland. But we do start going milder eventually, even though we are colder for a lot longer with the ECMWF. The GEM looks like this. Once again, high pressure moving out to our northwest, and we start to drag them winds in from the north. Take a look at this one. This is much more wintry. Low pressure bumps into the country, and we stay cold for the entirety of the time from the GEM. And we're looking pretty cold there and wintry as well, with low pressure troughs around, and there'll be some snow as well, as temperatures will be well below freezing at night time and getting up to about 3 or 4 in the day, I should say. So that's a very good run if you're looking for cold conditions. It was quite cold and wintry. AIFS, apparently the most reliable model. Wait, let's have a look at this. Once again, high pressure dragging out and retrogressing up towards Greenland. Low pressure is troughed over Europe. We start to drag the winds in from a very cold northerly, and we're quite cold for a time, but once again the Atlantic breaks it down and we're going milder, unfortunately. But the signs, icon looks like this. Once again, high pressure up towards Greenland, low pressure to our northeast. Winds starting to drag down from the north at our 180. That looks like a much colder run and wintry as we go up to the end of that one. UKMO finishes up like that. Looks like the winds are about to drag down from the north. UKMO EU. Once again, winds are about to drag down from the north from that one. We've got a big split at the minute between the models. So let's have a quick look at the KMA, see if that's updated. No, it's not fully updated, but we'll look at the latest one anyway. So winds from the latest one are doing that. But anyway, last night we get the winds dragged in from a very cold northerly direction. We're looking very wintry from that KMA run yesterday, but we are updating again now, and it's not looking as cold, if I say myself. Once again, it's going to be a work in progress. Everything is all over the place at the moment. Let's take a look at the GFS ensemble, see what they're saying. We'll start around the 17th. Okay, so this is the control run. We have got winds. Actually, let me write this down. Have I got a pen? Yes. I'm going to write down the amount that I called them mild, so I can give my overall thoughts on if it is going to go cold and wintry. It is going to go colder, but for how long and how severe. Anyway, the control run looks like this. Why are we not? There we go. Control run looks like this. Winds start to come down from a colder northerly direction for a time before the Atlantic starts to break through. It goes cold, but that's not enough for me. It does go cold, maybe a bit of winteriness for parts but I'm not classing that as a proper cold and wintry snap. Number 17. 17? Number 2, it's because I'm on the 17th of November. Ensemble number 2 looks like this: high pressure over Greenland, and we end up getting milder once again, so it just sort of collapses a little bit. And that was ensemble number 1. Ensemble number 2 looks like this: high pressure stays firm over Scandinavia. Take a look at that. Low pressure coming through, some snow there, and we actually stay pretty cold. Take a look at that. Still cold for the majority of that run there. Yeah, we're pretty cold with that run. That's quite severe. And we are cold basically the whole time right up to the end. We start to go a bit milder, but that's a much colder run. Very interesting indeed. Number 3 looks like this. Winds are in from the north once again. It's a bit stronger and longer lived than the operational run. We do start to break it down eventually, but once again, that's much colder. We don't actually. We keep the winds in from the north for the entirety of the time, and that's a very cold and a wintry run indeed. Number 4 looks like this. Once again, much colder. Take a look at that. Much colder and winterier, even though we start to get the wind back in from the west. That is a much winterier run, and I'm classing that as a colder run as well. Number 5 looks like this. Once again, this collapses a bit quick, so I'm not classing that one. It's cold. Number 6 looks like this. Get the winds in from the north. That one's a bit on the edge, so I'm not going to count that one. Number 7. That's very cold. Look at that one. What a run that is. And it tries to go for it again. But yeah, that's a pretty cold run. Number 8. Very wintry. Take a look at that. That's a proper cold run. Look at that. And we're cold up to, well, until we start going milder. But that's far away out. So that one is another cold run as well. Number 9. It's a bit on the edge. No, I'm not going to class that one. Even though we do look like we're going to go colder again, I'm not going to class that one. It doesn't quite do it. Number 10. Once again, it just collapses a bit, doesn't it? It does end up going cold, actually. A bit, but I'm not counting that one, as it doesn't quite get it in for as long as I want it to. Number 11. No. Number 12. Get the winds in from a very cold northerly direction. Take a look at that. That's pretty cold. We stay quite cold there before we start to go a little bit milder by the end. That's a very cold run. 13. We're not quite. Number 14. Let's try to go a bit quicker now. Nope. No, number 15. Winds in from the north, very cold. Yeah, that's a very cold. Oh, take a look at this. Wow. What a run that is. Whoa, look at that. Bit of a snow event as well by that. Look at that. Parts of England and Wales are having loads of snow from that one. What a run that is. That is brilliant. 16. It's like this. Nope. 17. Wind in from the north for a time, but it just collapses a bit quick. 18. Oh, winds in from the north quite early, and that's a very cold run. It does start to collapse eventually, but it is cold for a lot longer. 19. Not really. Tries. Number 20. That's a very cold run as well. It just started to collapse by the end, but once again, it's pretty cold for the majority. Number 21. Winds in from the north. That one's on the edge, but I'll say no. 22. Don't know what to say about that one either. 23. That's a very cold run. Yeah, that's a very cold run. Number 24. That's fairly cold for a time. Just backs off though. 25. Oh, that's definitely a cold run. Once again, doesn't last too long, but it's definitely a cold run, that one is. 26. Now this one looks good. While it lasts, once again, breaks down pretty quick, but it just wait, actually that it ends up reinstating the cold there. And that one's pretty cool. Look at that at the end. Take a look at that for an overlay. Very, very cold. 27. I don't know about that one. 28. No. 29. Now that's a very cold run. 30. What's 30 doing? No. So I've got 18 that go cold but then recover quite quickly and don't go very wintry. Then I've got 13 runs that go proper cold blocked and some snow involved as well. So at the minute it's looking like it might favour a bit of a breakdown of the high pressure pretty quick, but obviously there's still a lot of time for change. So we will just have to see what happens with that. Let's have a look at the ensembles. So the ensembles look like like that. The red line is the 30-year average from 1991 to 2020. We're going firmly below that. We're above average at the moment, then we're going firmly up below till around the 22nd of November. Some models do keep it cold, but we are going fairly cold. But once again, it's just not that wintry, is it? But we'll just see what happens. It's very interesting. Anyway, that's your 12th sort of roundup done, and your latest from the charts. It's interesting. We're going to have to wait till tomorrow to see if we're going to get any snow involved, but we'll just have to see what happens. Anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.